So I just watched the interview between ABC's George Stephanopoulos and President Joe Biden, and I'm here to give you the breakdown. I have some notes, and I have basically the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we all kind of sensed that this would be an adversarial interview, and just like that, it was. George Stephanopoulos did not waste any time. He really went right ahead and talked about the elephant in the room, and that's Joe Biden's debate performance from Thursday, June 27th. Now, Biden admitted that his debate performance was, quote, a bad episode. I don't really see how he can get around that. He was really up front and frank about it. He said that he was sick and, quote, feeling terrible before the debate, which I guess kind of provides some context for it. He pointed out the events that he'd done after the debate, too, which kind of are evidence that, he's still there a little bit. He's got some good energy. He can rile up a crowd. I saw his North Carolina rally at 2 a.m. He pointed that out. One of the things he said was, I just had a bad night. I don't know why, which if you don't know why, then that's kind of weird to say because he admitted he was sick and feeling terrible, so he kind of does know why. He pointed out, and it's true, that Donald Trump also had a bad debate performance in the sense that on the substance, he was almost entirely wrong. He lied 28 times. Some sources say even more, like 30. And, he kind of hit on that note he's been hitting on of, it's hard to debate a liar, which, I don't know if that's really the case because if someone's a truth teller, then it's even harder to debate them because you can't really rebut them or can't really fact check them. But if someone's a liar, then you can fact check them and you can push back on them and you can explain why they're wrong. And obviously, he didn't do that good of a job of explaining why Trump's wrong in the debate. I guess I kind of see his point about how if someone's just putting forward a deluge of lies and falsehoods, which Trump often does, then it's hard to deal with it. But yeah, I just don't think that the idea that it's hard to debate a liar and that, this guy just lies so much is really a good explanation for a poor debate performance. He pointed out some of his policy successes, which I think is a good idea. I don't think, though, that it's going to really help him get around the elephant in the room, which is voters' concern about his debate performance, concern about how he would handle another 4.5 years. We're talking a guy who's going to leave office in January 2029. But yeah, he pointed out his peace plan for the Middle East. He pointed out that his administration grew the economy, and that's true. There is record economic growth. He pointed out how he expanded NATO. He pointed out how he took on Big Pharma. George Stephanopoulos said that he wasn't disputing Biden's successes, but he kind of tried to redirect him to talk about some of his recent lapses. And Biden wasn't really having any of it. He bragged about how he took on Putin. He pointed out there's a lot of time left in this campaign, which, yeah, that's true, but also there could be more. July is kind of getting right down to it. 3 months from now, it'll be October, and by then it's like tick-tock, like things are almost done. So yeah, there's a good bit of time left, but I would say he needs even more time to recover from that debate performance. He bragged, no one thought that I could get done what we got done. So again, kind of pointing to his policy successes. But the questions Stephanopoulos was asking were more about his stamina, his cognitive ability, his recent lapses. So it just kind of seems like he's being stubborn and not really handling the questions well. Stephanopoulos pointed out that Trump was ahead in the popular vote, and he's ahead in some key battleground states, and that 2020 was a close race. So yeah, he might be hanging on for dear life. That's kind of what he's getting into. Biden kind of pointed out that he disagrees with Stephanopoulos on the polls. He thinks that his polls show him doing just fine. Stephanopoulos pointed out Senator Mark Warner asking Biden to resign. Biden said, well, look, Mark's a good guy, but he and I have a different perspective. So yeah, he just does not agree with his good friends within the Democratic Party who want him to step aside. He's being pretty stubborn in that regard. He said that he would need the Lord Almighty to come down and tell him to stop running for him to actually drop out of the race. And George Stephanopoulos conceded, yeah, the Lord Almighty is not going to come down and tell you not to stop. Biden bragged about how he can draw really big crowds, which Stephanopoulos then, I think, correctly pointed out, dude, I don't think you really want to play the crowd game. I mean, consider how many big crowds Trump can draw. And then Biden kind of responded saying, well, who's at these crowds? Really, like, what is he saying? What are they saying? So, yeah, not really a good response. I mean, I think Stephanopoulos was really looking to get a bit of a more honest response from Biden in terms of speaking directly to the questions. Obviously, he was honest in terms of some of the subject matter, but again, this interview didn't seem like it was geared so much toward policy, but really geared towards, please, Mr. President, reassure the voters that you've got it together, that you can beat Trump, that you won't have another debate like this in the future, because they've got another one on September 10th, and that you can serve another 4 years. Stephanopoulos asked Biden, and I think this answer really infuriated a lot of people that I saw on X posting. He said, if you stay in and then you go on to lose to Donald Trump, how will you feel? And everything that you warn about a Trump presidency, if that all comes to fruition, how will you feel about that? And Biden basically just said, look, as long as I gave it my all and as long as I did my best job, it'll be okay. So, yeah, really kind of a questionable response. He said, yeah, this is what it's all about, just doing my best. So, again, not really reassuring people. I think people probably wanted a little more fire in that answer. Like, I think it would be outrageous if Trump won, that he's not really being considerate of other Democrats and progressives who are really scared of a second Trump term. And, yeah, not a good look, I would say, for him, and the progressive base's reaction to it kind of establishes that. I read a USA Today article. USA Today reports President Joe Biden's post-debate interview Friday divided prominent Democrats, with some showing support for his re-election campaign and others joining calls for him to end his 2024 bid for the White House. So Representative Angie Craig, a Democrat from Minnesota, became the fifth House Democrat, asking Biden to step aside in a statement on Saturday. There were four others, including I believe it was Lloyd Doggett of Texas. He was the first. Senator Mark Warner, who I mentioned before, of Virginia, he's reportedly organizing a group of Democratic senators to ask Biden to drop out. And then on the positive side, people who actually liked the interview, Democratic Representative Jim Clyburn of South Carolina said, quote, he clearly laid out the truth tonight. Under Trump, all of our progress will be stymied and our democracy would be put at risk. Democratic Senator Chris Coons of Delaware said that he's sticking with Biden too. It's not really a surprise. They're both Delaware boys. They're both very close friends and allies. Same with Jim Clyburn. I mean, Jim Clyburn helped Biden win South Carolina in 2020 in the primary. So, yeah, kind of the predictable responses from people. The people who really like him just say it's proof that he's doing well and that he's recovering from this debate performance. The people who are more concerned about a second Trump term and aren't super tight with the president are like, okay, dude, you need to drop out. So what does this kind of remind me of? A lot of people are bringing up President Lyndon Johnson and how he dropped out in the primary in 1968. Yeah, he kind of saw that his viability was gone. The Vietnam War had damaged his reputation way too much. I also kind of feel some similarities between this and Richard Nixon, actually, believe it or not, in 1974, because he had members of his own party calling on him to resign from the presidency, that they wanted him impeached, that if the impeachment vote were to go through, he would get impeached, with Republicans voting to impeach him. And so what we're kind of seeing here, obviously, Biden's not being impeached. He's not being asked to resign from the presidency yet, but he's being asked to drop out of the presidential race, which is a pretty big deal. It shows that the Democrats have lost confidence in him. So yeah, members of his own party are like, dude, please drop out. We also saw some of this in 2016, if you remember, with Donald Trump, where some Republicans wanted him to drop out after the Access Hollywood tapes. I think a key difference there was that it was in October that the Access Hollywood tapes came out. And yeah, even though it was terrible, it was a clip of him boasting about sexually assaulting women. The Republicans who were asking him to drop out were probably never going to get their way because it was October by then. The election was literally 1 month away. So with the Biden dropping out thing, I think there's some more momentum. But yeah, for the Stephanopoulos interview, people, I think it basically just confirmed whatever any of the Democrats who had their views on him and dropping out already wanted to see. Everyone's just had their own biases confirmed. The Clyburns and the Coons are like, oh yeah, this is great. Meanwhile, the Democrats who wanted him to drop out for fear of a second Trump term are like, Mr. President, you need to drop out. So yeah, that's my reaction to the Biden-Stephanopoulos interview. If you liked this, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Please let me know your thoughts on that interview. I'm really interested to hear. Do you think that the president is going to drop out this month or maybe even next month? Do you think he'll push it really late? Do you think it's coming within the next couple of days? It'll be really interesting to see. So yeah, I look forward to talking to you in the next video.